So my wife's been wanting a patio table for several years now, and I don't know why I haven't done it yet, but I do believe in the old saying, happy wife, happy life. So she's gonna get her patio table today. As you can see, it's pretty close to being finished. It's gonna be a concrete top, a steel frame. So let me take you to the beginning, show you how I've gotten to this point, and then by the end of this, hopefully it's gonna be a pretty respectable looking patio table. Hopefully. The first part of this project I want to tackle is pouring the top to this patio table. And the reason being is because it's a concrete top and it's going to need to set and cure in these forms for several days. I'll probably let it be a week. And in the meantime, I can weld up the frame and pretty much have everything ready by the time this thing is ready. I didn't show the construction of the forms just because last night I just wanted to get it together, and I figured I'd just give you a quick walkthrough, and then we'll get to pouring concrete. The form is approximately 3 foot by 4 foot and is constructed of 2x3s with an interior frame of 3/4 inch plywood scraps that I ripped to a width of 3 inches so that I could have a 3-inch thick slab. The inside section with the purple foam and other plywood is to create a cavity for me to put a little trough in later, but you'll see that later on in the video. The bottom material here is the same material I used in the shipping container shop interior ceiling. It's a hardboard that is painted white on one side, and then I just caulked all of the seams where the frame meets that material.
There's nothing too terribly complex about pouring this concrete top, except for the fact that I'm using a bit higher grade concrete and just making sure to not have my mix too dry or too wet. Once I had a thin layer down, I then started adding some remesh, but in this case it's just hardware cloth, and then I'm following it up in the middle of the form with some rebar going both lengthwise and horizontally, as well as some real concrete remesh and a little bit of everything else. And that is what it kind of looks like. A little bit of everything. I've even got some tomato cage scraps that I just threw in there too.
So it's pretty much all done, but I did want to point out one mistake I made. The first batch was pretty much perfect, maybe just a tad wet, but I am in a really dry and hot environment, so sometimes I like to make the concrete just a little bit wet. But the second batch was definitely too soupy, and I was kind of fighting that the whole way, and I thought I might have had it just about perfect. And then once I started troweling on top, you'll notice I've got just a bit of extra moisture on top. So not a huge deal, but if your concrete is too moist, it will hamper the strength just a little bit. But you know what? There's nothing that I can do about it now, so we'll see how it looks in, I don't know, 5 days.
While the slab was curing, I was then able to start on the metal frame for the patio table, and this was a good opportunity to try out a new saw that I recently got from Evolution Power Saws. It is a metal cutting saw and pretty much throws off no sparks, something pretty foreign to what I'm used to using an abrasive wheel, but this thing was pretty amazing. To make the top sections of the table, I'm using the same scrap pieces I used for the legs, but I'm splitting them in half with the plasma cutter to not only save on steel, but to also give a bit thinner look for the top sections, because I just wanted them to be recessed just a little bit in the legs, and using the full pieces would be a bit overkill.
So I've got all my pieces cut, and what I'm doing is just assembling them into 2 separate frames that I will tack together, and then I will stand everything up and connect them together in the completed frame for the table. And every time I'm doing this, it just reminds me that I need to build a welding bench. As you can see, I just have a piece of sheet metal laying here. So that is probably going to be a project that's going to get moved way to the front. Forgot how many screws I put in this bad boy. Quite a bit. Just take it off, Taylor. Not too bad. There are some areas on the edges where some of the latex caulking embedded itself, but I'm pretty happy with the insert. It looks pretty nice and formed. However, I did get some chipping right there. I'll let it cure or dry, and then I'll sand it and see how it looks. Here's the one I just freehanded. Not too bad if you really want the super rustic look, but definitely the straight edge made it look a lot better. There's a few little areas on some of the curved spots that I might need to hit with the Dremel, but overall I'm very happy with this one. I've decided to leave it the bare metal look, but I'm coating it all with this Penetrol. It's kind of like a clear coat. It'll stop rust and kind of protect the metal. And then if I ever do decide to paint it, this can be painted directly over as long as I have, I believe, an oil-based paint, which I would use anyway for the metal. Okay, so it's all done. I am pretty darn happy with the way it turned out. It's pretty substantial, and I think it's gonna get quite a bit of use. A couple of things I want to point out that I might do differently next time. I will probably use silicone caulking for all of the form frames. As I mentioned, some of that latex caulking got stuck in the concrete and I had to chisel it out. And then as for this top, I may actually put some hinges on this top to where it hinges up. But my wife said that I might want to think about that, because if I put hinges, one side of the table is never going to have access to the drinks. So right now I'll probably just play it as is like this. So if we have friends over, that I could just leave this on, or just leave it off and put ice and drinks in here. One other thing I might want to do with this is maybe make some sort of grate insert with some little holders to hold like sterno cans or something like that, so I could almost have like a heated element for this. But that's pretty much it. It's certainly not perfect. There's definitely little lines and things that I would change, but overall I'm pretty happy with it. So as always, hope this gives you some sort of ideas for a project of your own. And I will see you probably on some sort of rainwater. Whoops, I almost forgot to mention. What am I gonna do about chairs? I'm not sure yet. I'll probably just use some generic ones, but I am thinking about making some custom ones that'll match the table out of those little 16-inch cutoffs that you saw me cut these legs from. and maybe some wood, I'm not sure. And then I also wanted to make mention of the couple resources I used to figure out how to do this. One was Robin Lewis. He has a great concrete countertop build, and I just absolutely love the style of his videos. I'll put a link down below. And the other is DIY Pete. He has an awesome blog and has a ton of videos on a very step-by-step process on how to do all the things regarding concrete countertops. So I just wanted to mention that before I left you. So anyway, I will see you later.